Hey guys, HackerSploit here, back again with another video. Apologies for the lack of uploads. As I said, I wanted to get the Red Team series done, and now that it's done, we can actually conclude the penetration testing bootcamp in regards to both Windows and Linux post-exploitation. And then we're going to move on to web application penetration testing, right? So this video is essentially going to be an advice video. That's how I would like you to actually consider this. So again, as the title suggests, this is going to be a cybersecurity career pathway information, or just an advice video to give you, just some advice as to how you can get started with a career in cybersecurity. Now, the reason I'm making this video is, quite simple, is because I get asked this question a lot. And the question typically is, how do I get started with a career in cybersecurity? What certifications do I need to get? And of course, I respond to those messages by saying that's too vague, because you need to give me an idea of what role or what path that you actually want to take. Do you want to become, a cybersecurity specialist, an engineer, penetration tester? Do you want to work in DFIR, which is digital forensics and incident response? So I generally speaking, I need to get a good idea of what path you want to go down in order for me to give you, any advice. Now, a great website that I've been using for quite a while and that I've recommended to a lot of students and, individuals who maybe just want to, have a career change is a website called Cyberseek. All right. So that's cyberseek.org. The link will be in the description, so don't worry about that. Now, the great thing about this website is it actually gives you a visual view of the various roles that are associated with, cybersecurity in regards to careers or career paths, and then sorts them based on the feeder role, entry level, mid-level, advanced level, etc., etc. All right, now this is currently under the career pathway tab. You can also click on the interactive map, which will give you statistics, statistics for the US. So it'll give you, statistics like the total number of cybersecurity job openings, the total employed cybersecurity workforce, the supply and demand ratio. So you can see it's about 68%. But of course, in most cases, these statistics may not, be applicable to you because of your region, etc., etc. So I'm primarily going to be focused on the career pathway. Now, the career pathway page is really cool because it sorts, as I said, it gives you your feeder roles first and foremost. So what is a feeder role? Well, a feeder role in this case, and based on their analysis, are the roles that you typically see people or see individuals making the transition from into cybersecurity, right? So again, this makes a lot of sense. So you see a lot of people moving from networking, software development, systems engineering, financial and risk analysis, security intelligence, and IT support into cybersecurity. As I said, that's something that you see quite a lot. These are just feeder roles that, again, provide you with certain skills that will then shape your entry into the cybersecurity, into a cybersecurity career. Okay, so if you click on any of these feeder roles, maybe like IT support, which is pretty much the most common, you can see that it gives you your common job titles. And of course, IT support or just an IT technician or help desk is pretty much the actual titles that this role is known for or known as. You then have your total job openings, which again, this is United States, so be wary of that. And then of course, you have your requested education and top certification. So let's take a look at requested education first. So requested education is in reference to whether or not you need a degree, right? And of course, the type of degree you need to get a career in this field. And of course, this is not set in stone. This is just based on statistics. And of course, we know that numbers, really tell the entire or full story. So you can see within IT support, about 50% don't have degrees, which makes sense. And then 50 or 45% have a bachelor degree, and 5% have a graduate degree. All right, now in terms of the certifications requested, you can see that the de facto standards are going to be Security, CompTIA Security, and Network Plus, maybe A Plus to a certain extent. And in this case, it's essentially giving you a rundown of the certifications that are requested, mostly by companies, and are used by HR to determine or make a determination as to whether or not they're going to hire someone. All right. And then, of course, you have your top skills requested. So these are the skills that people are looking for. So technical support, help desk support, repair printers, IT support, Active Directory, which is something that you really need to be aware of or need to understand. It'll really save you a lot of time if you're getting into an IT support, into an IT support career or just a role. And of course, you need to be able to troubleshoot hardware as well as software to a certain extent. And then, of course, the top cybersecurity skills to add. This is giving you an idea of the cybersecurity skills you need to add in order to make the transition into a career in cybersecurity. Because remember, this is still a feeder role. So you need to, get started to get an idea of information systems, computer forensics, Linux, vulnerability assessment, security operations, Unix, etc., etc. I would typically recommend getting, learning vulnerability assessment, security operations, Linux, maybe a little bit of intrusion detection, and some forensics. So that's a feeder role. Now, I'm primarily going to be focused on the entry-level and mid-level roles here. So you can see for your entry-level roles, you have a cybersecurity specialist, cybercrime analyst, incident and intrusion analyst, and IT auditor. So what you'll typically see, at least in my experience, is this is where most are going to start off with regards to a career in cybersecurity, moving into penetration testing or becoming a cybersecurity engineer. Right? So under IT auditor, you can see that it gives you the average salary. This is again based in the United States, or values or statistics from the United States. And then, of course, the key thing that I like about cybersecurity is it gives you a good idea or just a basic overview of the top future skills requested, or the skills that you'll actually need to know in the next 5 years in order to maintain this role or to be effective at this particular role. So you can see that the topmost skill that will be requested within the next 5 years is blockchain, security, roles and privileges, user security management, ISO 27001, compliance, security insider threat management. So all of this essentially entail, with exception, to blockchain, all entail, the operational security of a company, because that's what, you're going to be responsible for. So the common job titles, I've seen this job being called IT auditor, or this job role being referenced to as an IT auditor, or an information technology, analyst, or really not analyst, but just someone who is in charge of an organization's security. All right. And of course, this is not to be misconstrued with penetration testing. On this side of things, you're pretty much dealing with mostly blue team because you're working on internal security in order to prevent attacks or, hacks. As for the requested education, you can see you need about 73% have a bachelor's degree. So again, that gives you an idea as to what type of education is required. Now, as I said, this is not mandatory. It's not set in stone, but it's there, right? And it gives you an idea of what you need. As for the certifications, pretty much in my opinion, CompTIA Security Plus, I would recommend getting that first, then getting your Certified Information Systems Auditor or your CISA, and then you can explore other ones. But for this role, these are pretty much the the certifications that are requested by HR or by hiring bodies. And then of course you have your total job openings, which is about 7,000, which again is a bit shocking to me, but hey. As for the skills requested, you need to be able to perform internal auditing, vulnerability analysis of vulnerability. You need to be able to set up a vulnerability management program. You need to have a good experience or understanding of various compliance standards. So, SOX, you can see that the SOX compliance standard is here. And of course, this is primarily the case for the United States. You need to have an idea of risk assessment, information security, business processes, etc. Just, you need to have skills associated with managing and maintaining the security posture of a company, right? And that, of course, is going to involve employees, the systems or assets, the actual business workflow, accounting, any compliance standards that the company needs to be in compliance with, etc. Okay, so that's one of these entry-level roles. Now, the great thing is that once you click on IT Auditor, it gives you two pathways that you can take based on where you want to go next. So you can see you can typically become a cybersecurity consultant or a penetration tester, or penetration and vulnerability tester, but just really a penetration tester. And then of course, as a penetration tester, there are two levels really. You're either a junior penetration tester or a senior penetration tester, but I'll get to that. Now, the typical pathway is to become a penetration tester. So once you click on a penetration tester, you can see that you pretty much can move, vertically or within the same, mid-level roles. So you can become a consultant or an analyst, but that's not what you typically see. What you'll typically see is a penetration tester moving into cybersecurity engineer. And if I click on cybersecurity engineer, probably a few years within that role, you can then move into a cybersecurity manager. But if we click on penetration tester, because this is where a lot of you guys actually want to get into, or the role that you guys are interested in, as I've said multiple times over the years, container security is pretty much the next big thing. And I've made countless videos on it, but a lot of people tell me, oh, why are you focusing on containers? There's nothing there. It's pretty much secure. Well, you can see that you're going to need to actually get in touch with container security. You're then going to need, comprehensive software security, threat hunting, software as a service application security, because most companies are actually starting to utilize software as a service, solutions for, their business activity. Anomaly detection, that's where it's moving. So, essentially improving what you see here is really a maturity of the role, because you're now going to be, again, getting in touch with, first and foremost, new technologies like container security as you move on, within the next 5 years. You also need to have a good understanding of software security and software vulnerabilities, so that, you know what you're doing really when it comes down to exploiting software or services. For threat hunting, again, that's something that is coming in from the blue team, as well as anomaly detection, but having a good understanding of how threat hunting and anomaly detection systems work will give you the edge as a penetration tester, as I said, over the next 5 years. So the common job titles, we already know this, penetration tester, or, once you move to a higher level, senior penetration tester. So you can spend, 5 to 8 years within the penetration tester role typically, before you move on to, some of the management roles. As for the degrees or requested education, you can see it's pretty much holding the same, for all mid-level roles, where 70% have a bachelor's degree and 21% have a graduate's degree. As for the certifications, you can see that SANs are pretty much the de facto standard here. You'll also, of course, have others like the OSCP, which are not added here for various reasons. Primarily, I think because you need to have some of these certifications are DoD compliant, and of course, I'm basing this off the United States market. So you can see Computer Security Plus, Certified Ethical Hacker is there for some reason, although it's not really a pen testing certification. And then, of course, you have the total job openings. So you can see that this has, marginally more openings than some of the other ones, like maybe like a incident and intrusion analyst, and maybe, some of the other ones as we already explored. The top skills requested: pen testing, information security, Linux, Python, Java, vulnerability assessment, the typical skills you would associate with a, penetration tester. Right, so that's just one example. Now, for those of you who want to get into DFIR, which is digital forensics and incident response, then you pretty much want to start here, right? And of course, that also gives you the ability to then move into becoming a cybersecurity analyst, most likely, or a consultant, but I rarely see the transition from incident and intrusion analyst into a penetration tester. But again, that's just based on my own experience. So again, same thing, same process here. The SAN certifications still hold weight, and of course you have Security Plus there. So what I'm trying to show you is that the Security Plus, at least in this case, is really the only constant when it comes down to a cybersecurity career. So it's actually giving you a good idea of some of the most important certifications you should be focusing on, and that's why I've always recommended Security Plus. Okay, so you can see the skills you'll require over the next 5 years, and those again make sense. Threat hunting, security information and event management systems, so your SIEMs, anomaly detection, so on and so forth, right? So that's fairly simple. Now let's take a look at some of the other mid-level roles, like an analyst, because a consultant is somewhere, in between both of these roles in a sense, where to become a consultant, you essentially need to have a little bit of everything, really, so that you can actually consult with companies or help companies secure the infrastructure. So let's take a look at the analyst role, right? So the analyst role is, as it says right over here, has, it gives you the average salary here. The skills are pretty much dealing with the cloud, which makes sense. Comprehensive software security, and of course, experience with the security information and event management systems, or SIEMs, threat intelligence and response. You get an idea of what you need to do. Now, under the certifications, you have your CISSP. So that's where you first see the mention of the CISSP, which makes sense because CISSP requires some experience. You have Security Plus, still a constant there. And then, of course, you have your SANS certifications here associated primarily with cloud, I would say. Those are pretty much the most important ones, but there are other ones there. And you can see that the total job openings here are quite a few in comparison to the others. Right, so you can go through this yourself. I don't want to take too much time going through all of this. I also want to cover certification or your certification roadmap. But let's take a look at some of the advanced levels first. So you have your cybersecurity manager, right? So cybersecurity manager, this is more of an administrative role. As it says right over here, the top future skills, we can see that it's all moving toward the cloud. And in regards to the other skills, you need to have the ability to create a cybersecurity plan or a security policy, and you need to be able to help a company or, essentially set up, maintain, and manage the security of a company, right? In regards to the policies, as well as other, compliance standards that you need to be in compliance with. Okay, so you can see we have quite a few job openings there. The certifications, as expected, CISSP is pretty much guaranteed at that point, and Security Plus is still the actual constant there. So you can go through this yourself. You have your cybersecurity engineer, which is pretty much where most people will go. And again, container security, cloud security, the topmost skills that you actually need to be good at over the next 5 years. So yeah, you can go through all of this and of course take a look at your feeder role if you are starting from any of these feeder roles, and get an idea of what you need to know, what certifications you need to have, etc., etc. As for the skills and certifications page, this just gives you a list of the topmost certifications, and you can see right over here that the topmost is CISSP, and then it gives you the actual job titles you can get when you actually have that certification. If you have the Security Plus, you can pretty much gain entry into most entry level and mid level roles. I would say, at least to a certain degree. And yeah, this is a great tool in regards to getting an idea of where you need to start, what you need to learn, what certifications you need to get, etc., etc. And then, of course, you have your education and training providers. That, of course, is self-explanatory. This just gives you a list of, training providers within the United States, so on and so forth. And, of course, you can go through that once you are ready to, start getting trained. Right, so that is CyberSeek. Now, another great utility or resource that I also recommend students to check out is a roadmap created by Paul Jeremy, and I have to give him credit because this is awesome. I mean, this is really, really good. So what this is essentially a roadmap of certifications based on the actual type of role that you want to get into. And in this case, they are more vague because Paul Jeremy seems to understand that cybersecurity is a very diverse industry with regards to what you can actually do. So, under the security operations, they're sorted based on penetration testing, exploitation, incident handling, forensics, right? So this is typically where most of you will, be getting your start, I assume, and then moving onwards here. So again, right at the bottom here, you have your certifications. So we're taking a look at pen testing certifications. The topmost, you have your OSCP, OSWE, and then you have your INE eLearn security certifications here. So you have ECPTX, EWPTX, etc. And you also have your SANS certifications here. So once you highlight over a certification, it gives you the actual price. So if I highlight over maybe something like, let's see, what looks interesting here, the OSCP, you can see that that's 1,000 and some change in regards to getting the training, so on and so forth, right? But it gives you an idea of the various certifications that you can take. And of course, the topmost are pretty much the recommended. So at the bottom here, you have certifications like the Kali Linux Certified Professional. Now, as I said, you don't have to go through all of these. This is just giving you an idea of the certifications that are out there that can give you your start within a particular field, right? Or the necessary skills. So you can see you have your CompTIA Pentest Plus, which fits a little bit into exploitation. And of course, this is in reference to software exploitation, which is why you have the OSCE here, as well as OSEP, and a few other SANS certifications there. You have the CREST certification, etc., right? Okay, if you take a look at incident handling and forensics, you also have your certifications here, which I know most of you are also keenly interested in or are keen on. And of course, you can go through all of the certifications that you can essentially take here or explore, right? Okay, so again, the link to this will be in the description, so you can actually check this out for yourself. All I wanted to do was give you an introduction to that or to these resources so that you can check them out for yourself. And as I said, you really don't need to get all certifications. As I said, use the CyberSeek resource to get an idea of the topmost certifications that will get you a job. And then after that, you can then get the other certifications that you are interested in or that will, enhance your skills to a certain degree. Because the truth is you need to deal with HR departments and the hiring process, and they take certifications quite seriously. And that's not something that I like. As I said, I prefer real practical experience. And, if someone can actually show me what they've done with regards to the projects that they've worked on, whether they've performed any bug bounties, etc., I really like hands-on experience. But certifications are helpful because they essentially prove that you've gone through training and that you have a certain level of training, and they can essentially classify you based on your skill. So that's what certifications are used for. So again, that's pretty much going to be it in regards to what I wanted to cover. As I said, this is more of a personal thing. You guys need to go through this yourself based on your own requirements and where you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years. And you can also explore the various certifications that you can essentially get based on the pathway you want to get into. So again, if you're getting started with cloud, you can explore the cloud certifications there. If you're interested in security and risk management, again, go for it, check them out. Yeah, so that's pretty much going to be it. Let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear what your feedback is, what your comments are on the cybersecurity industry as is. And yeah, let's get the discussion going. And that's going to be it for me. And I'll be seeing you in the next video. A huge thank you to all of our Patreons. Your support is greatly appreciated, and this is a formal thank you. So thank you Shamir Douglas, Ryan Carr, Sandor, Michael Busby, Sid Saab, Doozy, Tafim Bari, Dustin Umpress, and Michael Hubbard. Your support is greatly appreciated, and you keep us making even more high quality content for you guys. So thank you.